Welcome to Damon Bruce Plus. It's wonderful to have you back here. It is September 11th. That enough is, put some gravity on the day. When you look at what happened yesterday with the shooting of Charlie Kirk, I mean, all I can tell you is that sports are a very welcome distraction. Today of all days, a little time in the toy department, I think, is needed in life. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the toy department as if it actually really matters. And hey, it certainly affects how we feel about things, so it does matter. And then at the end of the show, and we will give everyone a wide berth to leave the show, but we will talk about what happened yesterday. And that's going to be awkward for some people. And again, if you don't want to do that, you won't have to do any of it. It'll come at the end of the show. But it's really good to have you here today. Please hit like and subscribe if you would, because normally what we do here is just talk sports and football and what's going on in the world of sports. And that's what we really need right now. And let me just tell you, what's going on in the world of the 49ers is just kind of bad news right now. Brock Purdy will be out Sunday for sure. And then weeks beyond that, with no timeline of his return put on the record at this particular time. You can expect Mac Jones basically to be the 49ers starting quarterback through the Jacksonville Jaguars game. I don't think that is an exaggeration of where this is. Turf toe variant. Again, couldn't just be turf toe. Not for the San Francisco 49ers. No, they have to have a turf toe variant. What's the variant? What makes Brock Purdy's turf toe a variant of normal turf toes? Is it bilateral turf toe Achilles tendonitis? I don't know. I don't know what to think here. How much of a variant are we talking about? It's just not good news. I mean, there's no way to spin it well. That even includes, like, what if Mac looks great? And that would be good from a football standpoint, but from an anxiety standpoint, we'll get to all of that. But it's just, this team, seriously, it's like it's snake bit. These injuries are ridiculous. When you just hold the Niners up against, NFL normal, it's kind of ridiculous. It really, really is. Speaking of normal, there is nothing normal sandwich-wise waiting for you at Ike's. Ike's has got something special waiting for you at one of his restaurants. So you go ahead and you check out Ike's, please, if you will. You'll be very happy that you did. Hopefully there's one near you. And right now, Ike's is thinking it's time for football season. He's got some football-related sandwiches. He's got sandwiches that will satisfy your entire actual lineup, your fantasy lineup, your real lineup, your family lineup. Check out dinner with Ike's and check out his football collaborations. As always, you can't do any better though than this guy right here. I am one of the most delicious sandwiches in the world. Find out for yourself. Please, you will be happy that you did. We've got our friends at the Dubliner pouring us some beers and getting ready for us to be there for Plus Mania 7 on October 4th at 4:20. I hope you make it to the Dubliner before then, but I sure hope you make it to the Dubliner on that date, because we're going to be there celebrating together, our little community, the island of misfit toys that we are. We'll be getting together at the Dubliner West Portal, and we certainly hope that you can join us there. Circle it on your calendar. Wednesday, October 4th. If you're in the Bay Area, if you're in San Francisco, we sure hope that you can join us at the Dubliner. It'd be great to have you there. And we want to just welcome in once again our new friends here at Sleeper. We love you, Sleeper. Sleeper is an awful lot of fun. It is one of the fastest growing apps out there on Planet Sports, and you will quickly find out why when you sign up. And use the promo code Damon when you do. Do so using the link in the description of this video and get a $100 deposit match on your first deposit up to $100 over on Sleeper, which is incredible for real-time stats, updates, what is happening in each and every game. I mean, it is a very good app. Whoever designed this knocked it out of the park. The user interface is fantastic. Check it out for yourself. And as always, be responsible over in the world of gambling, which is going to be a part of today's show, by the way. We have some very interesting gambling news to talk about. Hold on, let me make sure we're doing that. We're doing that. And now we're back to normal, and we can do a show. Brock Purdy, again, going to be out Sunday. What's that mean for the 49ers? Well, it means there is a headache coming no matter what. There really, really is a headache coming for the 49ers no matter what. Let's just say Mac Jones throws up all over himself. And the 49ers look, helpless with their backup quarterback, which we have seen them look at times. Mac Jones was supposed to be the difference maker this year, so we'll see if he really is. And honestly, it is the right point in the schedule and in the season to work him in. Everyone's still used to playing football with Mac from training camp. So, they still all they're all still sort of on the same page. It's not like, well, he hasn't really played with these guys in weeks now. So I guess it is the right time to bring him in and find out what you got. It's a really quick trial by fire. There's very little doubt about that. If the 49ers with Mac Jones playing for Brock Purdy, if they lose more often than they win, well, that's just not good. And everyone is going to be very upset. And this guy wasn't the solution. And who's evaluating, who's playing quarterback on this team? And believe me, the San Francisco 49ers have opened up any avenues of quarterback criticism that you might want to point in their direction. If the Niners lose more than they win, people are going to be just pissed off because nobody likes losing, period, full stop, end of story. Doesn't ever sit well during football season. If the 49ers get great play out of Mac Jones, people are going to be pissed that the 49ers gave Brock Purdy all that franchise money. I mean, they're pissed. Some of them are anyways that happened. Imagine if Mac Jones looks good. Imagine if there's actually a world where he looks better than Brock Purdy. I don't think that world exists. I'm not saying that that's about to happen, but if it does, that wouldn't be good either. Because you just entered a long, massive financial relationship with a guy that you would hate to find out, well, the guy actually behind him is just as good, if not better. I mean, that wouldn't be easy to digest either. They're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. And obviously, there's a lot less noise that comes with winning than the noise that comes with losing. But there'd be noise that would come with winning as well. And let me just say, I almost don't even want to do this segment. What if this is what Shanahan wanted all along? I think Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones more than he wanted Trey Lance, and he was forced into Trey Lance. And, maybe I'm wrong about that. That is my speculation. But what if he actually falls in love here with Mac Jones and thinks that, man, I can get more out of him than I can even get with Brock? What then? Good God. I mean, if this goes well, I see it going wrong. If it goes wrong, I see it going wrong. I hope that cooler heads prevail. I hope that this is a little just over panicking on my part. But if there's one thing I know about 49ers fans is you're all a bunch of easily ratable. You rattle as a group. You really do. You are not the most stoic, calm fan base I have ever dealt with. Not even close. Little sip of the day on that brand affiliated mug. What do you think of that? Have you checked out the new merch? We got new merch for you. Check it out. By the way, we're working our way towards 50,000 subs. We're going to need you to get very aggressive in that department for us to reach the goal by the bye week. So if you would please tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell somebody about Damon Bruce Plus today, and maybe they become a subscriber tonight or tomorrow, or maybe you're new here right now and you're not a subscriber. So many people who are even regular viewers are still not subscribers. If you would please, no skin off your back to hit that sub button. And also, hit that like on this video right now. It'll get pushed across the interwebs more than if you don't. Got a sub here from Joseph Ernberg saying, how are Bears fans compared to 49ers fans? They're more consistent. Niners fans are topsy-turvy, one day great, one day bad. Bears fans are not delusional. They know when they suck, and they've sucked for like 30 years in a row. So there's a lot more common sense in the Midwest than there is to the fix everything in a microwave as fast as humanly possible. This team should be a startup, and we should be able to fire the CEO, the coach, and replace them with a new operating system at all times. Like the Bay Area is a little screwed up. It really is. Bears fans are a lot more mature at times than Niners fans are, without a doubt. Rita Thomas says, hey, Purdy's got to take one for the team here. Ronnie Lott that toe. Again, there you go. Rita, the perfect example of some unrealistic expectations of Niners fans. Of course, I know she's joking. By the way, isn't that sort of a tough place to live in, right? Isn't that sort of a tough place to live in as a 49er who gets injured? Ronnie Lott has so thoroughly established, like, oh, if you break something, just cut it off and live your rest of your life without it and keep playing football. Brock Purdy, turf toe variant. If it were just turf toe, I'd say try to live through it. But it is a variant. Maybe you should cut that toe off. Thank you, Rita. We'll keep you far away from the 49ers medical room. Freaking turf toe. Turf toe. That's bad. Or is it? Moonman says, $5.99 to subscribe is crazy. Thanks for letting us know you're broke as shit, Moonman. Thanks for letting me know that you think my work should be totally free to you. And here's the thing, it is. The subscription is for people who want to help support what I do. If you don't want to support this, you can just shut the fuck up and watch in silence. How about that? You can do that. I'm trying to feed my family over here. Is that cool with you? Is it cool if I try to make money on my only source of income since I got laid off by a industry that can't afford actual talent anymore? Was that on me? Sorry, Moon Man. You don't have to subscribe. You can just sit there and you can just watch. There you go. So all I can say is that if Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones all along, well, go ahead and show us why, Kyle. I hope that they play really well in New Orleans. I think Mac Jones can actually, in the next 3 weeks, go 3-0. I think he could if he's starting for the next 3 weeks. I think the 49ers can win in New Orleans with Mac Jones. Home against Arizona will be the greater challenge than home against Jacksonville. Him starting against Jacksonville, if you don't see the irony right there, that's, that would be interesting if that were to happen. And then it would be the Thursday nighter against the LA Rams. I'd like to see Brock back in time for that one because that game comes with a price tag that is a higher price tag than just about any other game they're going to play all year long. 49ers and Rams are going to be at each other's throats in both of these games. So you really, really hope to see Brock back by then, or Mac Jones have settled into playing so comfortably and so well, you're actually thinking to yourself, hey, this could happen. But it totally sucks that it happened. This is the point in the year where you want a little consistency and you want a whole bunch of guys who, even though they played together in training camp, they haven't faced an awful lot of, on stage, under the spotlights moments together since last season. And last season was so convoluted with injury, it's hard to say anybody really developed chemistry. One of the things I was most looking forward to this week is watching that chemistry grow between Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall. Well, one of them isn't going to be there to show us, and that sucks. Thomas is coming in with the super saying, I think we can go 2-1 in our next 3 games, be 3-1, hopefully with a healthy roster for the Rams. I'll look at it this way. If you're selling that to me right now, Thomas, I'd buy it. If you're saying right now, Damon, you have no idea what the record's going to be, or I'll sell you 3-1 over your next 4 right now. I will buy 3-1. I think anyone would. I'll buy 3-1 in any 4-game stretch in football, basically. 3-1 throughout the course of a season over any 4-game stretch. You keep doing that, you're a playoff team for sure. So, yeah, give me 3-1, Thomas. I'll take that. Doesn't it really suck, though, that we can't see more of that connection between, Brock and the new guys on his team? There's no Kittle out there. It would have been nice to see Brock have a chance to develop further connection with Jake Tungus, with Luke Farrell, with Braden Willis if he's called up from the practice squad. to Marquez Valdez-Scantling if he's going to be getting downs and reps this week. Brock has not completed a single pass to that guy yet. So it kind of sucks, man. I mean, there's no way to spin positive your starting quarterback being hurt this early in an NFL season. And of course it's happening for the 49ers, because if you are a 49er, you are by definition hurt at some point quickly, especially if we don't see it, especially if we don't know about it. The guys who aren't getting themselves scraped up off a football field are the guys you got to worry about, because the dude who you didn't even see get hurt turns into this might be weeks when it comes to the 49ers. And I tell you, beyond Mac Jones, I could take the 49ers to the court of law and prove that this team just has no idea what it wants done at quarterback. Kyle Shanahan, who's got all these strict standards for the way he wants his offense run, he changes out the engine of his machine every single chance he gets. It's crazy. I mean, I'm glad that he's finally found Brock and decided, yeah, I can stick, but don't let me for a second. Don't think for a second that his wanderlust. I mean, no matter what quarterback Shanahan is dancing with, he's always looking over that quarterback's shoulder for the prettier dancer in the room that he could be dancing with. Like, I really believe that. And all I can tell you is that what they're doing here behind Mac Jones. So it's Brock Purdy, Mac Jones. That's established. We all knew that. Who the third guy was going to be, who your practice squad guy was going to be. Again, that guy normally doesn't matter. Something has to happen to your starter for that guy to even matter. They don't even really know who that guy is. I mean, it's Adrian Martinez technically, but I'm going to tell you right now that Adrian Martinez, the 49ers backup or practice squad backup quarterback right now, didn't go through training camp with this team. How do the 49ers bring quarterbacks through training camp, through the preseason, only to let those group of guys who went through it be unconsidered for a role on this team? Where is Carter Bradley? How come that guy's not in the room? He played preseason football for you. Where's Tanner Mordecai? You've been grooming him over the course of years to be in position to maybe help you if this moment arrives. Are you telling me that you wasted all those man hours, all of that time on a player who, again, now that you really need him, you're not even going to call him? Why'd you get into the Josh Dobbs business only to get right out of it if you thought this guy would be a really good backup quarterback for us going forward? I'm not saying Josh Dobbs is good at anything. But why bring him in? Why have him on the team? How about a little consistency there? Carter Bradley, again, not even considered as this team works out other quarterbacks. Nate Sudfeld, bring him in. Send him right back out. Why? Isn't he familiar with what you're doing? More than Adrian Martinez is anyways? It's just this team has a blind spot at the positions of quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive line. I mean, good God. This says pay players, then they get hurt. Doesn't it suck? It really does. It really, really sucks. What I also think sucks here is that, Brock Purdy, who you've just made this massive investment in, is sort of like entering so he gets hurt every year, right? I mean, he gets hurt every year for several seasons in a row now. That's not good. That's just not good. There's no way to prevent that, by the way. There's nobody to say, oh, congratulations, you have signed the one quarterback impervious to injury or missing games. Like, that person doesn't exist. Yet other teams continue to stumble upon this person. It's just not for the 49ers. Now, Paul here is saying, Like Kobe said, Charmin soft. I mean, look, a turf toe is a tough thing to get over. But anyone who's on a football team is by definition not soft. But man, the 49ers got more bad injury luck than anybody. I mean, it's overwhelming. It really is. It's overwhelming. I was trying to book my friend Ethan Sherwood Strauss on the show. He'll be joining us sometime next week. He's got a busy week this week. But he, who is a very reasonable, rational, intellectual guy when it comes to approaching sports, was just like, what the hell is going on with my team? This is weird, isn't it? I'm like, yes, we were DMing each other last night. I'm like, yeah, this is not NFL normal, what the 49ers are dealing with year in, year out with their injuries. It is insane. I can't explain it. I don't know if I can assign blame to anyone. It's just weird. And I know we all love assigning blame, but it's crazy. I love the way you tell it like it is. Glenn, thank you. I mean, from what I'm seeing, from where I'm sitting, is the 49ers have a problem that seemingly escapes most other NFL franchises. Again, I don't know if they're responsible for it, if they brought it upon themselves with the decisions or choices that they have made, if this is someone internally not getting the job done, or if this really is just a staggering amount of dumb luck that continues to get delivered to the 49ers front porch, and the delivery guy ain't delivering this bag of dumb luck to just about anybody else. Remy says injuries starting to mount around the league. Soft training camps are the problem. Maybe it is. I don't know. Is it really iron is the only way to sharpen iron, or is the better idea in these meaningless games to protect your assets? Can we actually prove that the protection of players and assets in the preseason exposes them to a greater chance of finding injury in the regular season? Because if we can find that, if we can prove it, I'm going to tell you, every single team in the world is going to stop doing it. By the way, this is why like NBA load management bothers me a little, because you got every single NBA team, subscribing to the concept of load management, when the truth is, if they knew definitively in any way how to prevent injuries, there would never be injuries. So they're just guessing. It's just all guesstimates. Here's what we hope. Here's what we think is the right thing to do. These are all well-intended thoughts, but their consequences aren't producing things quite like they should. Seriously, I this is why living with myself in my own brain hurts myself. And sometimes one of the very first things I thought of when this, became, hey, he might miss multiple weeks, was, what if Shanahan likes Mac Jones more? What if that happens? What if Mac Jones plays 3 games in a row of 158.3 perfect quarterback ratings and is just cracker jacks? What if Mac Jones is phenomenal? Like, isn't that also a fucking problem? I mean, good God. I guess it's a good problem to have. But man, the last thing I need is more Brock Purdy. What we have paid that guy anxiety, getting back on the radar. I thought we were beyond that. Chef A says load management still sounds to me like someone constipated. Yeah. Yeah. Good question here. If iron sharpening iron is what's getting dudes hurt, Danbo88 says, what's a softer metal? I mean, yeah, maybe iron's too much. I don't know. Would you like even more to worry about? Here I am. I got something even more for you to worry about today. Like, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Did you see, do you remember the player that I was advocating for all lead up to the NFL draft? Do you remember me saying that the 49ers should trade up for Armand Membu, the tackle out of Missouri? I did show after conversation after conversation about how there was one player who I truly loved in this draft that I thought would be the type of player that you would trade up to go get because it looks like as close to a sure thing as you're going to find. Not that any sure thing is out there. Armand Membu, rookie right tackle for the New York Jets, was the highest graded right tackle in football last week. Not among his rookie class, among all tackles. And he was going up against TJ Watt. That's the guy the 49ers should have traded up to have drafted, but they didn't. They stuck to their guns, they stayed where they were, and they drafted Mykel Williams. Well, the guy who I wanted drafted graded out better than anyone else who plays his position in professional football. The guy that the 49ers drafted had 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 0 solo tackles, 39 total snaps where he might have at best pushed the pocket a little. The only thing I can tell you about Mykel Williams is that he's only 21 years old and there's nowhere to go but up. But his professional debut was a yawn. Alfred Collins did basically nothing. It was a trial of fire for, Upton Stout. CJ West's name was not used. I'd like to see a little something from these rookies in New Orleans because we didn't see anything from anyone outside of Marquise Siegel that was impressive in Seattle among this rookie class. So, look, I would never claim to be an expert. I don't try to pretend I'm some sort of front office guy who got passed over and now I'm basically the equivalent of an NFL GM and I got an eye for talent like nobody else. But Uncle Damon is watching enough football to, I think, I think this guy is worth making a big gamble on to play in the NFL because he just looks really, really good. Again, Armand Membu, Uncle Damon might have been right about that. Keenan Allen, Uncle Damon might have been right about that. Seriously. I can't believe the 49ers are already in this place. A new kicker. We have a new kicker. I'm happy. Steve, thank you very much for tucking a couple bucks in the ganja jar. Hey, get your Eddie Pinheiro jerseys now. Get your Eddie Pinheiro rivalry jersey in black if you really want to go nuts. Let's go, Eddie Pinheiro. Should he be in the Ring of Honor? Does he go directly into the Hall of Fame? Should we let him make a field goal first in New Orleans before we, again, never buy a kicker jersey. Kickers are like strippers. The minute she falls off the pole, get him another. Bring us in another. Anthony Lick-Scorpion saying, did Brock get injured in his college years? Nothing that I know about. Nothing that ever seemed to attach any sort of write-up about his draft prospects as to like off injured or I don't think so. I think the answer is no. But thanks for the supers. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like and subscribe. Cheers. So there you go. There's 31 solid minutes of 49ers concern, anxiety, worry. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me tell you what you need to do now. You need to win in New Orleans because winning truly is the ultimate deodorant to whatever's ailing a football team, and a little deodorant would make this start of the year less stinky. If you ever get a call on your phone, your iPhone, or your green avocado corded kitchen phone at your grandmother's house, if you ever get a call and it's from Pablo Torre, just hang up. It's not gonna go well for you. Pablo Torre is the only investigative journalist we have covering sports really these days. And let me tell you, he subscribes to the thought pattern of give your subject just enough rope to hang themselves. And what we have developing in the NBA with the Clippers, this Pablo Torre story, the comments yesterday from Commissioner Adam Silver, something's going on here, kids, and there's a bill that's going to hit the table. So about a week ago, Pablo Torre broke a story about how Steve Ballmer was a major investor in a company that, even though you've never heard of it before, signed Kawhi Leonard to a massive, massive endorsement deal. Pablo Torre says this was a mechanism that the Clippers used to circumvent the salary cap to pay to pay Kawhi Leonard under the table. And the Clippers, of course, immediately ran to ESPN, and Steve Ballmer sat down and said, not true. Absolutely not true. And as a matter of fact, I was taken advantage of, said Steve Ballmer. I was conned out of my money by an unscrupulous business that quickly filed for bankruptcy. And this whole thing is a big misunderstanding that looks like it could be condemning and we did something wrong. But trust me, Steve Ballmer is basically using the trust me bro defense. The trust me bro. Well, so after he comes out and gives a timeline, okay? After he comes out and gives a timeline, basically saying, trust me, bro, here's what really happened. Pablo Torre strikes back today. Basically, they responded to the story that Pablo put out, but Pablo didn't put out the entire story. And now that the Clippers have married themselves to the, hey, we got taken advantage of, we didn't know, Steve Ballmer's kind of the victim here. What Pablo Torre released today was that even though that company had filed for bankruptcy, there was a Clippers investor who still cut him a check for like $3 million on a day where they owed Kawhi Leonard $2.8 million. And Kawhi Leonard's check didn't clear. And then all of a sudden, a guy with the Clippers is writing a check to a company that has filed for bankruptcy. And look, this whole thing isn't very sexy. It's one big paper trail. And by definition, a paper trail is not a sexy thing to be talking about. But it seems an awful lot like the Clippers did everything they could to pay Kawhi Leonard under the table. And if this can be proven, if this is true, Steve Ballmer needs to be thrown the fuck out of the NBA. This is so much more offensive to me, as I've said earlier, than any racism that Donald Sterling ever brought to the table. I expect old fuddy-duddy men to be racist. They're from Generation Racist. Steve Ballmer, trying to circumvent the cap is so much more offensive to me than anything that Sterling might have done. And I'm going to tell you right now, Adam Silver does not have anywhere in his job description, make sure the NBA cures the concept of racism. That is not in the man's job description. What is enforce the laws that the league has agreed upon. And we should probably start with the concept of what players are allowed to be paid under the salary cap, which you have now rigged against owners who really want to win. The second apron is a direct attack to the good decisions and the good drafting and the willingness to pay his elite players to stick around that Joe Lacob and the Warriors want. Steve Ballmer is trying to make sure his team doesn't hit the second apron by inventing a bullshit tree service for a no-show job. I mean, come on. That is spitting directly in the face of fair competition. So that seriously, that's got to go. If this can really be proven. And now, Adam Silver, you need to circle every single lawyer and wagon you have around the Clippers and treat them like a fucking crime scene. Let's see if he's got the balls to do it. Checks being written to a business after it declares bankruptcy. What smart businessman does that? I don't think a single smart businessman does that, but a cheating businessman would do that. Enjoy the paper trail. Enjoy that paper trail. There's another little story that you might not have even heard about this week. 3 college kids got lifetime bans from playing basketball by the NCAA this week. And this might be the first time you're actually even hearing about it. And if you're in the Bay Area, guess what? This happened kind of in your backyard. The NCAA found athletes from Fresno State and San Jose State placed prop bets on their performances last season. And the schools themselves have not been penalized, but all these players have been thrown out of college basketball forever. Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated says permanent bans on 3 men's basketball players, 2 who competed at Fresno State and 1 from San Jose State, for point shaving and impermissible betting on games during last season. They are the first publicized NCAA infraction decisions in an expanding probe of point shaving and game fixing in both pro and college basketball. By the way, you're probably not going to hear an awful lot about this on the DraftKings sponsored show on ESPN tonight. Do you think ESPN in business with all these sports gaming and gambling apps is going to come down hard on the concept of we've caught gamblers? There's no way. There's just no way. And let me just tell you that the temptation for a young kid not making much money to take a few unders on himself and check him out of the game with a fake sprained ankle or whatever the hell, it's if this has happened at Fresno State and San Jose State, it's got to be happening in some way, shape, or form everywhere. Pandora's box is open, kids. And the temptation for quick money is gonna, really make a lot of people sign up for bad decisions. You're a fringe player on a basketball roster. When NIL backed its truck up to make your roster fatter, you didn't get nearly a cut that you thought was significant. So, yeah, I'm going to gamble on this one. I'm going to remove myself, with like 4 degrees of somebody else making the bet, but everybody can be tracked and traced, and there is no privacy anymore. So just wait for more to happen here. This story is going to continue to metastasize like cancer. It's going to spread. I guarantee it, because there are way too many unscrupulous, money-focused kids in charge of making big decisions here. And you can always guarantee you there's a certain percentage of kids who are going to fuck this up. That's what being a kid is. Hey, look, we got 200 people sitting in the room right now, but we don't even have 100 likes. If you could just tap that thumbs up button, I would really, really appreciate it. Again, thanks to everyone who has offered a super today. Anthony Scorpion comes on back saying, Mikael Williams was not drafted to be a pass rusher. He was drafted to stop the run up the middle. Sure, but 0 tackles is a part of the story. Alfred Collins is the guy who is supposed to absorb the double teams. Mikael Williams is supposed to be the guy setting the edge. And I'm not saying that Mikael Williams' career is over, he's going to be a bust or anything like that. But in a world where you can only make one first impression, we didn't even see him. By the way, San Bruno Mike, who's been a member for 20 months now. Thank you very much, San Bruno Mike. I sure appreciate you supporting the show. So I've got 200 people watching. Like and sub. There you go. Make sure that happens, if you would, please. So there are a couple of other things in sports happening that feel like they matter. First of all, we got Thursday night football. We got Commanders and Packers tonight. Is Debo going to find the end zone 2 weeks in a row? Don't let Debo thrive while the 49ers are still trying to figure it out. That also wouldn't be good for the zeitgeist of the football team. But Debo playing tonight. We got Micah Parsons in a Packer uniform tonight. We got Jaden Daniels tonight. This should be an interesting Thursday night game. The Giants are going to have Justin Verlander scheduled to start against Shohei Ohtani Friday night. Doyers get here on Friday. The Giants just missed sweeping the Arizona Diamondbacks. So they dump a game yesterday afternoon. They could have swept, but nope, they dropped that one. Still playing pretty well, though. So we'll see. A real litmus test of, are we supposed to talk about you with any sort of thoughts of the postseason actually being real? Well, here come the Dodgers. It's a good litmus test of whether you're to be taken seriously or not. Fun weekend of college football coming up. We'll talk much more about that tomorrow. But, man, I thought that this was kind of an interesting little stat. I'll share it again tomorrow, but I had to share it with you right now. I got good news for Purdue. Do you ever hear me say that sentence? Good news for Purdue? I hate Purdue. Go Hoosiers. But how about this? Purdue is going to be hosting USC in West Lafayette this weekend. USC has not won in the Eastern time zone since 2012. What? That can't be true. It's true. 4,700 days, more than 4,700 days ago is the last time USC has won in the Eastern time zone. Well, it just happens to be that time of the year where West Lafayette is in the Eastern time zone. It hasn't been slid into the Central with any daylight savings or anything like that. So that's there you go, USC. We'll see if you can overcome that. I hope they do. Just beat Purdue. What's USC doing in the Big Ten? I got no idea. That doesn't make any sense. Finally, the last thing to let you know about for a weekend where people are looking for a little credibility. The Raiders are seeking their 6th 2-0 start in their last 30 seasons. The last time the Raiders went 2-0 was in 2021. They lost the wild card. Before that, it was 2020. They went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. Before that, it was 2017. They finished 6-10 and missed the playoffs. Before that, it was 2002. They went 11-5 and lost the Super Bowl. Before that, it was 2000. They went 12-4 and lost the AFC title game. So 2-0 starts are rare, but often lead to good things, more often than not, for the Raiders. So we'll see if the Raiders can get off to a 2-0 start this weekend. Another just something to keep an eye on. We'll see if the 49ers can get off to a 2-0 start this weekend. So that is it for the sports portion of today's show. If you've enjoyed the sports portion of today's show and would like to just leave now to not talk about what today is, what yesterday was, now's the time to leave. No problems. You want to show yourself out the door? Show yourself out the door. If you're deciding to stay, I don't want to hear you complain that this isn't what you signed up for. You have been warned. By the way, Raider Luke, real quick, saying, when's JT making another guest appearance? Hopefully soon. Today is 9/11. We've talked about 9/11 every single time it's been 9/11. I'm not doing today in history today. It's 9/11. That's just, it doesn't, if you're looking for a moment in time where things changed, that was maybe the most prolific moment in time in my lifetime where it felt like things changed. And I got to tell you, yesterday, harken back some of those dark thoughts and feelings. I didn't believe in a thing that Charlie Kirk stood for, other than the fact that he was a nonviolent protester. I didn't agree with his side of the protest. But he was a nonviolent guy who wanted to have a conversation. And even though I don't like, where his conversation could from, he's got the right to express that. I'll show you what free speech absolution really looks like. I'm going to tell you that the Ku Klux Klan should be able to assemble today and have their rally and then deal with the consequences that come with that. But you're allowed to believe what you want to believe in this country. And that is a strength of this country, even when what you believe, I think, are the wrong things that you should be believing in. This man had a wife and 2 children. I've got a wife and 2 young children. For them to be robbed of a husband and a father is just tragic in every single way. And, I'm going to tell you, I heard about this. And as the information was still being disseminated all in real time, I got offline. I said, I don't want to see this. And then there were stories that came out saying, like he's going to be all right. Because we live in a world of misinformation and wrong information. So I go back online and I did see a video, and then my God, the angle of the video that I saw, obviously the person who tried to go with the "it's going to be all right" story had not seen that, because I'm very privileged. I don't have a lot of experience with death. Being in the same room as death. I was in the room when my father died. My mother and my sister were right there with me when my father passed away. And it wasn't sudden. It had reached the point in his hospice care where we had all the night before agreed, like, hopefully he goes tomorrow. And there were tears. There was a little laughter. And that was being in the room with death, but it was normal. It was natural. So it was easy to go through. I mean, it's sad to lose your father, but it's, in a way, it was, watched it all unfold. There was another time where me and a guy that I was working with on a construction crew in Fort Wayne, Indiana, discovered a dead body. We were painting crosswalks in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And, some of Fort Wayne, Indiana looks very much like a, downtown, 6-way intersection, big, mall crosswalks, lots of traffic. And other parts of Fort Wayne, Indiana become very rural quickly. And you're by creeks and by rivers. And I remember after painting a crosswalk on the rural side of town, went to take a leak in the woods, and then the other guy had to take a leak in the woods too. So like all guys peeing in the woods, he very respectfully goes and picks his own tree. He doesn't come stand right next to me and pee. While he's peeing over there and I'm peeing over here, he's like, "Do you see that?" I looked over and I did. There was a human laying face first down in the river. And we found a dead body, and we called the police, and we called an ambulance who extruded this old man from the river, and it was all very sad. Don't even know who it was. Don't know who this guy was. And I'll never forget that moment. Charlie Kirk's wife and children were there. The video that I saw left no room for interpretation that he might be okay. You could see the life escape his body. You saw him go from "I have life" to no life. It was traumatic for anyone to have seen it. His wife and children, I don't think any disclaimer about, liking the guy, not liking the guy is even needed here. No matter who you like, no matter how you think, political violence is just beyond unacceptable. And I'll tell you where I think yesterday became darkest was the online reaction. Like, this entire thing is a waste of life. But what was more even dark and painful was the reaction from people. People who felt comfortable either going online and expressing glee or victory lapping this. Who raised you? Who are you? That you would look at this and think, hey, I got to go make a video about how great this is. What's wrong with you? This is not something to celebrate. It's literally the exact opposite of celebration. Social media will be our national undoing. Assholes trolling everyone, being as inconsiderate as humanly possible, were never meant to have a platform. But they got one now. And they use it for destruction and malicious reasons in ways it's gross. And there's a lot of gross on both sides. This is what's the famous, there's a lot of fine people on both, there's a lot of disgusting people on both sides. There really is. I didn't consume Charlie Kirk. I stay out of, right-wing outrage information centers. I don't consume it. I don't know much about the guy. But I do know that he was just up there talking. I do know what he talked about was a lot of, venomous and foul things. But he has the right to put that out there. And maybe in a weird way, it came back to haunt him. One clip that I saw with him was him yesterday talking about how, hey, innocent people are going to get shot, but that's just the price of doing business around the Second Amendment. I don't know if in that moment he realized that he was going to be volunteering. The whole thing is just dark and it's sad. And what is really gross, and what I think is undeniable, is that our current group of leaders are the most incompetent and irresponsible people to be dealing with something of this magnitude. There's just zero doubt in my mind that the very first thing that was thought of in the Oval Office was, how can I use this to my advantage? And in the speech that he had addressed the nation with last night, you could see that ginning up political violence and looking for moments to attack enemies is the only prism that this is seen through. By the way, the moron who runs the FBI said, we got the guy, because he just wanted to be first on social media. And then it turns out they don't. You got Jesse Waters on Fox saying that the Democratic assassin, they haven't caught the person. We don't know who shot him. To assign blame, to assign a profile is so irresponsible. In the realm of news, to be postured as we deliver the news and talk about this as, well, we know exactly what happened and who did it, even though you don't know who did it, you haven't caught anybody, you have no manifesto, you have no reason to believe one way or the other. Who knows what happened? You can suspect things, sure, but you can't go with your suspicions as fact. And that's what you see here. Assigning blame is the best way to fan the flames of more violence. And that is all the man who is sitting in the White House wants to happen. If we are at each other's throats, it gives him the opportunity to grab more power. The whole thing is sad. The whole thing is depressing. And it all feels out of control. It's all out of control. It always feels like here we are, the dark period. And yesterday was dark. I can tell you this, and I can promise you this. We're going to get through it. 9/11 felt very much like the end of the world as we know it. We got through it. It was not the end of the world. I'm sure Vietnam, his fathers and mothers were kissing their children goodbye to go fight the single most easily to identify meaningless war in the history of all of our war. That must have felt like the greatest crisis of all time. It wasn't. The Kennedy assassination must have felt like the end of America. It wasn't. The Civil War literally tried to end America. It didn't. It's never as bad as you think. It's easy to get trapped in a moment and say, this is the worst time in the history to be alive. I don't know. I think I'd rather be alive now than during like the Black Plague, where, you could have raiders come in from foreign lands and like lance you to death. I mean, like it's not the worst time in the world to be alive. But man, there are people out there who want it to be. Because that's how more power will be grabbed. More power taken from you, the people, given to the hands of the few. Doesn't matter that I didn't like what Charlie Kirk represented. He's dead. Shot for talking. That can't happen. That cannot happen. Very, very sad. Very, very sad. But I can promise you the sun rises tomorrow, and it'll sunrise the day after that, and the sun will rise the day after that. And every day the sun rises is a chance for you to be nicer to someone, a chance for me to be nicer to someone. So let's end today's show agreeing to do the following. You probably have a little static with somebody in the world right now. Go out of your way to make peace with that person today. Inject a little peace into the world today. Bury a hatchet today. Someone that you might have a disagreement with, see if you can find agreement with that person and do it today. Be nice to each other today. Don't tweet venomous things today. Don't go into comment sections to just try to rile people up as much as possible, and do that today. Feel free to mind your own business and just hug your own family today, because that's all that really matters. Find your family, find your wife, find your husband, find your loved ones, find your friends, find your children, and hug them, because that's what really matters in life. It was nice to have. It was really nice to have the toy department of our world distract us. But I found it very difficult to host today's show. I wasn't really in an entertaining mood. Luckily, we've got a turf toe variant to worry about. Take care of your toes. Take care of your quarterbacks. Take care of your family. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of each other. That's all we can do. No matter what you believe, no matter who you voted for, no matter what you do in your life, I want you to know I really appreciate you watching, and in some weird, goofy way, I love you, even though we've never met. Let me put that into the world. Dear stranger watching this, thank you for watching this. It means a lot to me and my family, and I love you. Thank you. No matter what you believe, no matter who you pray to, whether you pray or not, no matter who you vote for, no matter what color your skin is, no matter who you go to bed with, you have the right to be happy. And I wish you some happiness and some love. because we could all use a little of that right now. I thank you so much for watching today. Thank you very much. Please do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone.